Hey everybody, it's Margitt. Welcome to my next video. On today's video, we're going to be talking about ways to help alleviate menstrual cycle pain, cramping, and heavy bleeding. We're going to be talking about ways to support your liver, different herbs and supplements, ways to keep that circulation going, and how you can take care of yourself during the month to help alleviate some cramps. Again, I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor. I'm just taking this from my experience that I've had since childhood. I suffered from cramps, but also from the last 10-year fibroid journey that I've had. And I wanted to share this with you through my stories to help inspire you or to move you on a path for healing. This is going to be one of my longer videos, so if you can't watch the whole thing, then you might want to save it for later. And if you want to leave any comments or ways in which you help yourself and find helpful during your moon time, please leave it in the comments or leave questions. I would love to help support you through this time. So my journey with my period is I started having severe cramps and pain from my very first period when I was 12 years old, going into 7th grade. It was very, very painful. It was very scary, and it continued every month until I pretty much got pregnant. And then my periods weren't as bad after I had given birth to my children. My mother did say that this was going to happen. This happened very frequently in their family, where they all suffered from severe menstrual cramps, and they were alleviated when they gave birth to children. So there was their way of healing this was to get married and have children, and your cramps would go away. But there really wasn't anything else. If you think about a lot of these old remedies, these old folk tales on herbs and different healing modalities that we now know that have come to the mainstream pretty much in the last 10 years were not known back then in the 50s and 60s. There might have been some teas or heating pads, but a lot of it in the 60s was medication, pharmaceuticals, and just kind of, they just thought maybe we were crazy from having so much pain. But when I was 12, I had a lot of cramping. The pain would lead to nausea. The nausea would lead to vomiting, and I would be on the cold bathroom floor, passed out or very fatigued from a lot of electrolyte imbalances and pretty much dehydrated. This happened pretty much every month. If I was taking supplements and teas that I learned more about in my 20s, it helped with the vomiting part. But if I was stressed out and not taking my supplements, then the vomiting part would come back. So it was very debilitating. It was very stressful. It was very, very hard on my body. If you think about, you have to really cabrulate, am I saying the word right? Just to kind of balance, get your body back into balance. And it's very difficult. And then I would just get up and keep doing this month after month after month. I did not know any of the things that I know now. So that's why I want to help you. When I got into nursing school, I had a friend that would see me suffering every month, and she was really into gardening and herbs, and she got me taking different teas. She would bring different hot teas over and sit with me while I drank them, and I found a lot of relief, a lot of calming and ease with my cramps. So it gave me hope that there was something out there. And then as I got older, I started to play with different supplements. And then when I got older, I went to different herbalists and naturopaths, and that's when it got a little bit more serious. And so the supplements got more serious back then, toward the end. So the one thing that I learned during this journey is that you have to support your liver. Our livers are being bombarded by so many toxins in our modern day world, through the air we breathe, the water we drink, the foods that are contaminated, through our skin. So our liver is being bombarded with different toxins, and our liver never gives up. It's constantly working to filter out all of these toxins. Well, not only does it filter out toxins, but it has to filter out hormones. Every month we're rotating new hormones to to begin and end that menstrual cycle, and it needs to get rid of the extra estrogen and the different hormones that are part of that. And if we don't clear them out, then they're going to be reabsorbed by the body, and then that leads into a lot of hormonal imbalances. So we need to keep that liver really healthy. And how we do that is we can take supplements and herbs. What I like to do every month is I take a liver support blend with dandelion and milk thistle. And there may be some other herbs in there, but dandelion, either by a tincture or a tea, is very, very good and helpful, and milk thistle. If you can get it combined and into a supplement, that's great too. But it really, really supports that liver in the filtrating process. Adding ginger, garlic, and onion to your diet really helps the phase 2 detox of the liver. And also the cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kale. This helps absorb any excess estrogen in the body, and it also helps support the liver. Things like lemon water, lemon and limes in the diet really help support the liver and helps clean it out. And probably the biggest thing that we can do to support our liver is to drink lots of water. This is my personal weakness, especially now in the middle of winter when it's cold outside. The last thing I want to do is drink water. I just get really cold, especially around my period when it's probably the most important time. So I drink I have a water bottle, and I try to drink at least 2 to 3 of these a day. It is always conscious work that I need to put this water in my body. It's not easy. And when I get too cold, I will change it to herbal teas, or maybe just hot water by itself with a little bit of lemon. I would rather be drinking coffee throughout the day, but it is not healthy for me. It keeps me very dehydrated and overstimulated, which I don't need. But so water is one of the biggest things that you can do for your periods and to keep your liver healthy. Some herbs that work for me and some minerals. I'm going to start with magnesium. I was very, very deficient years ago. I had a bunch of blood drawn by a naturopath, and I was very, very deficient in magnesium. And he said that most Americans are, because of our stressful life that we have. And it really depletes our magnesium levels, which are so needed for a lot of the muscle reactions in our body. And if you think of our heart and our uterus, those are such big muscles that need to be supported. So magnesium can come in a supplement. It can come in a powder where you mix it with water. It can also come supported with calcium and potassium and zinc, which are all very, very helpful to cramping and to help keep the uterus relaxed and healthy. So even if you don't want to take it through the month, even if you take magnesium 4 days before your period, it will still help relieve and reduce some of the cramps that you have. Raspberry leaf, or red raspberry leaf, is an amazing herb. You can take this also in a tincture or a tea. I personally have never taken the tincture. I just drink the tea. You can find this really at any grocery store. Red raspberry leaf, and usually around week 2 to my period, I try to drink this as much as I can. And what red raspberry leaf does is it really tones the uterus. When you have a nice toned uterus, it just has to contract a little bit in order to get the blood to be alleviated from the uterus out. So it decreases cramping. Now, if you have a uterus that is kind of like sloppy or blobbly, it's not like complete, it's not toned. It has to contract harder for the blood to come out of the uterus. So if you have that sloppy uterus like I had for many, many years, when you're contracting, it's not expelling the blood out properly, and you can hold old blood month to month in the uterus. So if your blood is like dark brown, dark red, or if you have spotting, or if you have dark blood in the beginning of your period, this is old blood that's trying to come out. And over years and years, you just don't want to have this accumulation of dark blood. I did for many years. I just thought periods, a normal period was dark red. That's all I really had were really thick, dark, heavy red periods. And now my periods are this beautiful red that is shiny and light. And by toning my uterus, keeping my liver supported, and also I do vaginal steaming. So I've been doing vaginal steaming for about 3 years, and people always get intrigued when I talk about that. I do it pretty much a week before my period and maybe 3 or 4 days after my period. When I had fibroids, I was pretty much trying to do it every day. And what this does, it really cleanses the uterus, and there is no old blood, because I used to have a lot of old dark blood, and I don't have that anymore. My period turns on and it turns off, and it's red blood throughout 3 days, and it's beautiful. I never thought I could have that red blood, so I'm really grateful that my periods are still with me, that I can have this experience and be able to share it with you. Another herb that helps cramping is called Cramp Bark tea. I was brought upon this amazing herb when I was working with the herbalist for my daughter's cramps, and she grew this and made this out of her home. But I have also now found it at the farmer's market. So it's a loose tea. You put maybe a teaspoon in a pot of water. I steep it for like 20 minutes. Simmer it for about 20 minutes, and then you can sip it, and it's just this beautiful, calming, relaxing, and it really just takes those cramps right away. It's just a really nice feeling. It really works, and you don't have to drink a lot of it. It's got a bitter taste, so you might want to put some honey in it, but knowing that it's going to take my cramps away, it's great. So I'll make a pot of it and either keep it on the stove or keep it in the refrigerator and sip on that. That really, really helps to take those cramps away. I have been taking Chastity or Vitex for many years. This helps to tone, excuse me, the uterus too. It helps decrease the amount of blood and the cramping that I had. And just recently I started a Ayurvedic herb called Shitavari, Shatavari, I haven't quite been on one complete cycle, but I know so far so good. I don't know if it's working or not, but it's not making me feel bad. Some things about trying new herbs and supplements, it's going to take about 3 months to find out if it's really, really helping you. You'll get like the full benefit. You'll know the full benefit after 3 months. If it's not working for you by the first month, pay attention to bloating, to maybe some breast tenderness, fuzzy head, headaches. If you're starting to feel symptoms that you're not feeling good and you just started a new herb or new supplement, and that maybe is not working so well for you. So really pay attention. So far I've been on Shitavari and I haven't had any symptoms, so I'm going to continue to take that. Vitex has always worked so well for me. So. But someone had told me about Shitavari, and I thought I would try something new. Other teas that will help with cramping include Cramp Bark, nettles, ginger, cinnamon, or a blend of these really warm, circulating kind of herbs. Chamomile and lemon balm will help relax the system and help relax any cramping or pain. Some things to avoid when you are bleeding is red meat. I'm not telling you that you should be a vegetarian, because I'm not. I like red meat, and I like a lot of fat in red meat. So I'm just saying, like when you're bleeding, because red meat has prostaglandins in them, and prostaglandins are what make your muscle contract. So if you're already having cramps and your uterus is already working really hard, by adding more prostaglandins in, it's going to make the contractions even harder, and it's going to be more painful. So if you can avoid red meat during the time, also avoid stimulants like caffeine and lots of sugar, because again, more stimulants on a contracted muscle is not going to feel very well. And plus, this is a time for detoxing when we're bleeding. So we might not really want to eat such heavy foods or stimulating foods. It's the time for us to really relax and just get centered and just really eat cleansing foods to help our body just kind of detox the blood and the hormones, and give our bodies rest. So I'm just going to keep going. Again, things to really pay attention to when you are on your period to really help with the cramps is to stay warm. Keep your feet covered. Keep warm clothes on. You might want like a hot water bottle, any kind of warm water, either in a shower or in a bath. If your bleeding isn't too bad, you may want to take a warm bath, and that really will help just relax the body and relax the uterus and reduce the pain. So hot water bottle, showers, bathing, keeping special warm socks on. When I have my girl circles, there's always a basket of red socks, just to continue to teach the girls to keep their feet warm, because it'll really help with the cramping. And also, if we know they're wearing red socks, we know that they got their period, so we can take extra care and pampering for them. So maybe you want your red socks to tell your family of what's going on in a very secrete way, or maybe you have a special blanket that you bring out. These are all beautiful gifts to give a young maiden when they first get their period, is always either a really nice blanket or red socks or something that keeps them warm and comforted, that they just take out during that time of the month. Another thing that we're going to talk about is the topic of circulation, keeping that uterus circulated instead of stagnant. I think we sit a lot in our culture. We don't dance like we would in ancient times. We don't move our hips to get that circulation into the uterus. So circulation is really, really important to bring back into our body. There's different ways that we can do that. The one way that I learned just recently and a couple years ago was the Mayan abdominal massage. This work has come from a woman named Rosita out of Cozumel, Mexico. She has created a school that teaches this abdominal massage. She used to teach it, but now there's different practitioners around the United States, and there's actually 2 in Michigan, 1 in Ann Arbor, and the one that I go to here in Rochester. So I will keep that, I'll put that website on the bottom of this where the details are. But what it is, it's an abdominal massage where when we get a massage, no one really touches our abdomen. But it is this beautiful way of massaging and relaxing the abdomen and moving the lymph around the uterus. And they're able to teach you how to do this at home, so you can do this every day or when it gets closer to your period, to help move some of that lymph, circulate the blood around your uterus. And it helps decrease the pain. When I had fibroids, it was help with my constipation and my urinary problems that I had, and I just felt it just kept everything in flow better. So this is something that you may want to check out. It's very healing. Every time I have someone else do it, the massage therapist, I always fall asleep. It is just so beautiful and is such a treat. Beware that some feelings or sensations may come from this. There's a lot of feelings and there's a lot of stories and stuff that we keep in our uterus. So this is just another way of healing our mental body, our spiritual body, and our physical body all at the same time. It's just some beautiful, beautiful work. And if it's really calling to you, then I would really suggest you check it out. It's really beautiful. Another way to keep that circulation going is by body brushing. This also helps that lymph, and especially the lymph around your thighs and your uterus and your buttocks, just to kind of move and keep that really healthy and moving. And it also helps to detox the liver. Any kind of movement like belly dancing, maybe some yoga poses where the hips are lifted, moving and rocking. This is all very, very helpful. Back in ancient times, we danced for everything, and this kept our uteruses very, very healthy and positioned and kept everything else healthy, the colon healthy, the bladder healthy, everything surrounding it very toned. And so anything to move that pelvic bone and all the organs around it is super helpful. Another thing is self-pleasuring and orgasm to really bring that circulation and that blood back in. You don't need a partner for any of that. You don't even need to get to orgasm, but just getting that blood and circulating. And this is a topic that we think is very, very taboo in our culture. I believe our young people have a better opening, like they're more open to it than maybe me and the older generations. But this needs to be talked about. This is just the beginning. We need to know about our bodies and how they work, what they look like, what they do, and we need to do it all for ourselves. And I think a lot of the problems we're having with the uterus and all that is because we need to heal that, and we need to feel pleasure just for ourselves. And so exploring that, I know of a woman in Australia that I met. I will put down her website and her Instagram, but I did take the class on the journey to the sexual self, and it was fantastic. She also cycles with the moon, your body and the moon, but it's all about self-love and self-pleasure and just really understanding the power of the yoni and in the uterus and how much there is for us to know about ourselves by just this part of our anatomy. It's fantastic. So if that intrigues you in any way, just check out her Instagram. She's also on Facebook. There's so much knowledge on just Instagram and Facebook, and you can start there. And if you do feel you want to dive a little bit deeper into her work, it's just fantastic. And I encourage all women to do that. Another thing that we need to do is rest and relax and sleep. Make sure we're getting 8 hours of sleep. We're having time to relax. We can start any kind of meditation practice. And if meditation isn't for you, then maybe it's dance, maybe it's walking, maybe it's playing an instrument. But whatever it is to really just calm down that part of yourself to get back into center. It may be writing or painting. So whatever that is, just making sure that you have that practice every day to come back into yourself. I really recommend everyone to get a relationship with the moon. Start looking where the moon is. You don't have to look outside in the window. There's all kinds of apps, and you can Google to see where the moon is. But start developing a relationship with your moon, with the moon, and where you are in your cycle, and begin to understand that with the moon, that that grows and closes and grows and closes, that we do the same thing. We are constantly expanding and contracting, just like the moon. And what she's going through, we may be going through, and there's a lot that she has a lot to teach us about our moon time. So get together with your bodies, begin to listen to her, what she has to tell you. If there are ailments with bleeding and cramping or migraines, fatigue, all sorts of things that can go, bloating, cramping, constipation, backaches, pelvic aches, all these are symptoms that we could have around our moon time, which is really allowing us to understand deeper things about ourselves. And if we don't listen, then they're going to get louder and louder and louder. And that's what happened in my case. I always had cramps. I always had bleeding, heavy bleeding when I was older. But it started from a very young age, and it just continued to get louder and louder and louder, to where my body literally, it just started to shut down. It literally came to a point last year where I couldn't pee. I had to wear a bag, and I had to get to that point to really do something big and jump off that cliff. So I don't want any of you to get to that point. I think there's just a few of us out there that need to go through that so that we can share our stories, so that you can do something and do some healing work before you get to that point. So this is it I have for you. I'm sure there's more. Oh, there is one more thing. Castor oil packs. Castor oil packs, you can Google them, you can YouTube them, how to make them. You can detox your liver with them. What you do is you get castor oil, you place it over your liver or your uterus. You put some towels there and like a hot moist pack over it. And this will help detox your liver, and in your uterus it'll help cleanse your uterus. So you can do this like 20 days on and like 10 days off, 20 days on, or how often as you need it. But in the beginning I would do it continuously to clean any old blood or anything out of the uterus. So that's another way that we can cleanse that are out. So you can Google that and to see where to buy it and to where how to make those packs for yourself. So that's all I have for you. I'm going to continue with my fibroid series. Again, this has been so healing for me as I continue to tell my story. I am just so grateful for all of you who have listened and are supporting me. If you want to continue to support me, please push the subscribe button, and you can get notification when my next video comes out. If there's anything that you want more, like to hear about, or questions or comments, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you and who's out there listening. It's been really amazing, and I'm just enjoying this journey so much. So till next time, I'll see you soon. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.